Where you see me right now is not who I am. You see me trying to pull together, work 2 or 3 jobs to supply for my family, but that's not who God says that I am. You see me not paying the light bill just to pay the water bill, but that's not who God says I am. That's where I am. That's only temporary. But in order for that to be a temporary situation, we have to get the lesson from it. We have to get the lesson from it. Is it possible that you, myself, we've been made to get in where we don't fit in? Degrees, education, training, jobs, friends, family. They put you where they think you fit. And then we never have the opportunity to say, well, hold up, is this what God would have for me to be? See, when you get placed in a situation, where man places you, you're going to always be uncomfortable. You'll never have that inner peace. You'll have happiness for a moment, but that's not what God promised. God promised us joy. Happiness comes and goes with the environment. Me and my son were doing a puzzle one time, and it was just a piece of a 3D puzzle, and I just kept on just pushing it up in there, because to me it looked like it needed to go there. But at the end of the day, my son said, Daddy, it don't look like the picture. Is your life looking like the picture God created? Is your life looking like that picture, or have somebody stuck you in somewhere just to say, you go right there? But your life isn't a reflection of what God intended it to be. So I challenge you today to go with me as we discover where we are is not who we are. Where we are is not who we are. I look at, oftentimes we go into my kids and I and my students, and let me do this before I go any further. I thank God for my wife. I love you. I thank God for my son, my daughter, one of my students is David Paul, and my father, Dr. Benson, in his absence. I spoke with him briefly on the way here, been speaking to him over the weekend. And he just said, son, just do you. Let God work through you. Don't look in their faces. That's right. Just do what you have to do. Because some will, some won't. But you have to do what God has gave you to do. And then I said, well, Dad, you don't have any message you can give me, something I can just get an outline from? No. No, I don't. I will tell you that there's a word in you. He told me, he said, God woke me up in the middle of the night and said, let my son go forth on Sunday morning while I'm in Detroit. He's in Detroit with several hundred pastors, ministers, and dignitaries from around the world at an awesome missions crusade. And he told me on last night that man, the people of God were just excited about the ministry and the mandate that God had placed on his life as it relates to missions. And we need missions. As you can see what's going on in the Middle East. You can see what's going on in Japan right now. But we need to prepare ourselves first. Amen. We can't say we're going to help nobody else and we haven't prepared ourselves. Obama said, let's send over the missiles, but we need to start prayer on this side first. Yeah, you can shoot a missile over there to shoot at Gaddafi and his people, but your kids still need to pray in schools again. So you fighting the war on that side, and our kids are steady falling by the wayside. It's a process. We keep on skipping the process to get an instant gratification. When you look at a lion, going back to what I was saying, when you look at a lion in a zoo, you see an animal that's caged, a lion just sitting there. He's roaming around, doing a few things, but ultimately, he's not fulfilling what he truly was placed here for. He's existing. Yes. It's the difference in existing and fulfilling. A lot of us exist. We're just in an environment. We're not affecting the environment. We're not living a purpose-driven life. We're just existing. You don't see that lion in his full purpose until you follow him to the jungle. You don't see that lion in his full purpose until you see him grazing through the field. Become the king of the jungle. As long as you observe him in that cage, he's only existing. We won't see a lot of our purpose until we stop existing and start fulfilling. Stop existing and start fulfilling. But the way we're going to do that is understanding the process. Where are you right now in your life? Oftentimes we get frustrated more times than not. We're frustrated. God, you gotta change this thing for me. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of bill collectors calling me every day. I'm tired of my kids talking back to me. The kids are saying I'm tired of making the same grades year after year. Coming up just average, below average, never going above and beyond and being who God says that I am, or the promise that I've often heard people talk about. Ever since I've been a baby, I've always heard people say, you have a gift on your life. You have a promise. You have prosperity in the future. But nobody ever in between told me the struggle that I was going to have to go through before I get there. So you discover this on your own. All I know is they say you're going to go so far, but nobody told me in between time I was going to have a couple of kids. I was going to have to work a few jobs at a time. I was going to have to go through bill collectors. I was going to have to go through some hate, some jealousy. We get a lot of that. Nobody explained that part to me. So it wasn't until I started to understand the process. The process. I understand where I'm going, but I also need to know what I need to get from where I'm at. But then at the same time, understanding that where I'm at is not who I am. It's not who I am. Understanding that where I'm at is not who I am. When I was younger, my father and my mother and I and a friend, we set out on a trip to Florida. We set out on that trip, and I was excited about it. I thought about all the wonderful things I had heard about Florida. I thought about all the beaches I had seen in books and on TV and on the Discovery Channel, and all the wonderful sights I was going to see when I got to Gulf Breeze, Florida. I was so excited about getting there to the point that I didn't realize on the way there, there was a lot of things to appreciate as well. Once you get, if anybody's ever taken that ride up to Gulf Breeze, Florida, Destin area, you know it's a beautiful sight. Picturesque scene. And you take that ride, but as you're taking that ride, a lot of times you won't even know that you've already reached your destination because you're so set on the big blue beaches that you want to see, but you don't realize the nice view on the way. I didn't discover those views until I got older, taking my kids there. And I'm asking myself, wow, has this always been here? Has it always been here? It's always been there. But I was and I would get, when I was younger, I would get frustrated on the trip because of the fact I was already in Florida, but because I didn't see that beach I was looking for, I couldn't appreciate the scene. I couldn't appreciate the surroundings. A lot of times we're already walking in what God would have us to be, who God would have us to be, but you can't see it because you're so frustrated thinking about, I'm going to be a millionaire. Thinking about, I'm going to have five cars, 2 houses, and a house on the beachfront somewhere. But we already living in a promise. That's how, and we're going to get to that. So understand, and we're going to go with me, if you will, to Deuteronomy 8 and verse 1 through 9. Deuteronomy verse 8 and 1 through 9. And I'll read that for you. All the commandments which I command you this day shall you observe to do, that you may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which the Lord swore to you, your fathers. And you shall remember all the way which the Lord your God led you these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble you, to prove you, to know what was in your heart, whether you would keep his commandments or no. And he humbled you and suffered you to hunger and fed you with manna which you knew not. Neither did your fathers know, that he might make you know that man does not live by bread alone only, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Lord does man live. A raiment waxed not old upon you, neither did your foot swell these 40 years. You shall also consider in your heart that as a man chastens his son, so the Lord chastens you. Therefore you shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Lord your God brings you into a good land, a land of brooks, of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive and honey, a land wherein you shall eat bread without scarceness. You shall not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of the hills you may dig brass. Come on. Now first in verse 1, we find that the first thing that we have to do, and a lot of times we don't understand in the process, he says, keep my commandments. Now summarizing those commandments, that's plain and simple. It's two things you need to do. Love God, love people. Love God, love people. It's just that simple. We haven't learned the first, love God. Love God. You almost got that part, but you can't love God if you haven't learned to love people. My brother Lewis used to say it all the time. He don't really say it no more. I think you need to start saying, I love you to death and you can't do nothing about it. It's not until we understand that we have to love people. You can't afford to see your brothers and sisters in need. You can't afford to see your brother and your sister reaching out. You can't afford to keep on ignoring your brother and sister and expect God to take you to that promise. Growing up, I always had a heart to want to give. I always wanted to give. That may be why I ended up where I am in the community. But a lot of us, we have our hands open, but we never we have our hands closed, but we never open it to give anything. Everything is about me, myself, and I. I can't pay my tithes because I got a bill due. I can't give offerings because I got a bill due. I can't help my brother and sister because I got something going on. It's not going to happen for you. Your promise is not going to happen until you first learn to love God, then love his people. Because through that, then God will know the right time to act. Once the people of God, they were already there, as we see over in chapter 8. They had already crossed the Jordan, and they were already in the promised land. Already there. But they didn't realize it. So they started to murmur and complain. Started to murmur and complain. But they missed a lesson in the process. It's always a lesson in the process. Even right now, as I go through my life, I'm experiencing on every day, making tremendous sacrifices. Working jobs that it's not me. It's where I am, but it's not who I am. But in the process, I say, God, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do, God? What is it that I'm supposed to get out of me being away from my home 4 out of 7 days out of the week? Me being out here in the wilderness by myself 4 out of 7 days out of the week. God says, I'm trying to humble you. I'm trying to bring you to a place where you'll learn to hear my voice. I'm trying to bring you to a place where you'll depend on me to take care of your family when you're away. Because all your life you thought because you're smart, you thought because you're a nice looking brother, you thought because you could dress well, you thought because you was charismatic that you was going to make a way for yourself. It's not you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you out here in this wilderness. I'm going to take away the suit. I'm going to take away the friends. And I'm going to put you in a dirty uniform. I'm going to put you out here on this dusty road where it ain't you, and it's nobody but you and these possums and these armadillos crossing the road all night. That's where I'm going to put you at, because you're getting too big for your britches. You don't understand what the purpose that you have in you.